All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Detours Cloud After Dark. We're so excited to have you here tonight for this special session all about inventory, one of the newest and growing areas of Detours Cloud. Your feedback is a huge part of what shapes Detours Cloud, and we truly appreciate all of you, not just as customers, but as collaborators. So thank you for being part of the journey with us and hanging out after hours tonight. If you're a new user, welcome to the Details Cloud crew. I'm Leanne, but you can also call me LB, and I'm one of your customer success managers. You'll also be working with Andre, Tiffany, and our newest team member, Mish Scott, to coach you on best practices, help you get the most out of the platform, and make sure your feedback gets straight to our product and development teams. On the account side, you've got Megan and Veronica, and we're excited to welcome Tommy Lee to the squad as well. They're your go-to crew for all upgrades, scheduling time with the CS team, and scaling your success with added training hours and services. All right, guys, so why inventory? Right? So with real-time visibility into inventory, we always know what we have and where it is across warehouses, vehicles, and job sites. This helps us avoid delays and make faster decisions. So we always want to know where every item is, whether it's in transit, in storage, or already assigned to a project. When it comes to project planning and procurement in DTools Cloud, we're introducing inventory insights early in the sales and planning process to allocate items ahead of time to prevent double ordering and material shortages and improving communication across all teams. And lastly, we cut unnecessary costs by using existing stock and catch losses early through accurate tracking. So, in short, better inventory management means faster projects, smarter planning, and better job costing. Tonight, we'll walk through the key steps to set up and manage inventory in Details Cloud. I'm kind of going to move through this like a training, so feel free to pull up your software and follow along with me. We're going to start by setting up our warehouse, marking items as stock items, and updating quantities. Then we'll allocate parts to a project and take a look at how to reserve items for a project in our item status view. So by the end, you should have a solid foundation and understand the workflow. But as always, we'll have a live Q&A session at the very end if we've missed anything. And this is just the beginning, guys. DTools Cloud has even more powerful inventory features on the way. Soon you'll see tools for label making, audit and reconciliation, expanded inventory reporting, and RMAs. And all of these improvements are going to bring even greater control and visibility to your inventory management. All right, team, let's get into the good stuff. So we're going to find our settings in the bottom left corner and scroll down to the very bottom to find our inventory settings. Okay, so here we have some automation going on when dealing with purchase orders and stock items. Right, so this first one, do you want to mark non-stock items as stock items when added to a purchase order? I'm not so sure right now. Personally, I want to mark items as stock items when the purchase order has actually been received, which brings us to the next toggle here. Right, so when a purchase order has been received, I do want my items to be placed in my default inventory location, which is my warehouse. Right, then I can move them to the shelves, racks, or bins that they belong to. Okay, and when an item is picked, right, that's when I want my stock items to be removed from my inventory. And these are personal preferences, guys. Talk to your procurement teams and configure these settings appropriately. All right, and so here's where we're going to set up our inventory locations. And I already have my warehouse, so I'm just going to set up two vehicles here. I'm going to create van one, all right, and van two. Okay. Again, I have my warehouse here and I put my office address in. I'm going to hover over the warehouse and find this ellipsis here, and I can start to create zones, aisles, racks, shelves, and bins. I'm going to bypass on the zone for now, and I'm going to just create 2 aisles, right? So we'll have aisle 1 here. Okay. I'm going to create aisle 2. All right, and then in my aisle, right, I'm going to find this more option again. I'm also going to create a rack. All right, so I want 2 racks on aisle 1. Create one more. Okay. And then on my rack, my first one will create a new shelf. Okay. And then we'll drill down one more level and we'll create a bin. All right, and actually, let's just create one more bin here. All right, so guys, I'm building out my warehouse, right? So I have 2 aisles and I have a few racks. I have 1 shelf and then I have 2 bins on that shelf here. All right, so now that I have my inventory location set, I need to mark some items as stock items and then place them where they belong, right? In these different locations. So we're going to leave settings and take a look at some of my products. Okay. There are a few different places that you guys can get started when adding stock items. Right now, I'm here on the inventory tab, and you'll find this gear icon over to the right. All right, gear icon, get started, and then import from CSV. If you have a file with products and quantities, you can import them here to save you guys some time. Right? You can also download your current product catalog, add columns for your quantities, minimum stock levels, and reorder levels, and then import that file back here to update your inventory. But tonight, I'm going to get started from my catalog. So I'm going to find this gear icon one more time. Get started, and let's set up from the catalog, which is going to bring you straight to the My Products tab underneath the catalog tab here to the left. All right, so I'm going to pick 3 items, mark them as stock items, select their locations in my warehouse, and then update their quantities. Right, and I already set up some items as favorites here, so let's quickly find these. Here they are. So my cameras, I'm going to hover and find this ellipsis here. And we're going to mark this as a stock item. Right. And now I'm going to select one of those locations that I just set up in my warehouse. So where do these belong? I'm going to go ahead and put them on rack 1 in this aisle. All right. And I'm going to pop 20 in there and check these in. Okay, now I'm going to get a little icon here to notify me that this is a stock item. This is going to show up in your quote and an opportunity, in your change orders, and of course in your item status view. And we'll take a look at that later. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for this item here. I'm going to put these in a bin. Sure, we're going to do, I guess we can do 15 of these. And some sound bars. We'll put this on aisle 2. Okay, and we have 20 of those. All right. So we marked our items as stock items. And now let's find the inventory tab again to see those items. And there they are. All right. You guys can filter by brand, supplier, and by locations in your warehouses here. right? And then this number here represents how much money I have sitting in inventory. Okay. When I select an item, right, my detail bar is going to slide out from the right, and I can see what's on hand, what's available, what's already been assigned to a project or allocated, what's been ordered, and what we need to order. One of my favorite features here is that if you hover over what's available, you can also reserve items across all projects if you need to. And let's actually do that. I'm going to reserve for my projects. And I see that I have 2 projects that need these sound bars, right? And let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to reserve one here and one there. And let's reserve all. Okay. All right, so now we no longer have 20 available. We only have 18, and 2 have been allocated to those projects. All right. You can also set your minimum stock and reorder quantities here. All right, so this lets me know that once I've gone below a certain amount, I need to go ahead and re-up. All right, so I'm going to change this to, so anytime I fall below 10, I want to go ahead and maybe order 5 more. All right, and let's say I need to adjust the quantity. All right, there's this green text here, right, or hyperlink here to adjust. So maybe this item isn't so hot anymore and I'm keeping less of them around, or maybe I've made a mistake, right? You can adjust the quantity here, but we do ask that you provide a reason and some notes, right? So maybe we'll just use shrinkage and not selling. I don't know. All right, and then the new on-hand quantity, let's go ahead and change that to 15. Okay, and let's adjust. Boom. All right, and then circling back to that real-time visibility for you and your teams, we have the inventory history here on this item to see any updates, where it is, where it's been, and if it's been assigned to a project. Okay, and these different footprints, right, or the history, this is just specific to this item, this sound bar. But if I wanted to see the inventory history across all projects, when I close that window out, there's this spinning icon up in the top right, and this will show me inventory history for all of my items here. Okay. And if you do have a handheld scanner, you can receive items by scanning its barcode. It's this blue button up in the top right. So let's take a look at how to reserve items in a project. Okay, so it all begins with sales. Tommy created a quote with our parts for our client, Lee. Lee accepted the proposal and we won the opportunity, and now we're managing the project post sale. Right, so we're tapping into that project planning across all teams here. So I'm going to jump into our project for Lee here. We've landed here in our project details, but I'm going to find the details icon over to the left, and then the item status view. All right, so we've made some changes to the item status view if you haven't noticed already. We now have 2 tables, one for ordering and another for scheduling. But if you still want to see one single view with all of the item statuses, you can add more statuses here with this filter. All right, so if I want to see what was picked and installed, I can go ahead and apply that there. Okay. So here in this table, I can see what's required for the project, how many items I've reserved already, and what's available in my warehouse. All right, and let's go ahead and reserve some items. So I'm going to choose these cameras here. And up in the top right corner on the order button, there is this little arrow to the right of it. I'm going to select that and let's go ahead and reserve from inventory. All right, and I do want 4 on this project. Boom. We can do the same thing for this one. All right, and that's it. So you can reserve items back on the inventory tab for all projects, or come into a project, find the item status view, and then reserve parts from this area. All right, and so now that we've reserved this item for this project, my next step would be for a project manager to add this item to a task so that one of my technicians can pick it, remove it from inventory, and then install it for our clients. All right, and back to the inventory tab. Whoops, there we go. All right, and we can see that our quantities have adjusted here. All right, and so just to recap, guys, you'll start in settings to create your inventory locations for your warehouses and vans, add your stock items, and then allocate them to the appropriate projects. And again, guys, this is just the beginning. We have lots more features coming, so stay tuned for those.